if by any chance there is someone here who has not, does not know Jafar Panahi, who has not seen any film by him, he is a very young filmmaker. He was born in 1960. He is a protege of the doyen of Iranian cinema, Abbasi Kiarostami. And in fact, he acted as an assistant director in the 1994 masterpiece of Kiarostami, Through the Olive Trees. And it was during the shooting of Through the Olive Trees that the idea of Jafar Panahi's first film, The White Balloon, was being discussed by them in one of those endless road scenes that Kiarostami is fond of. And Kiarostami ended up writing the script for his White Balloon. And that collaboration continued. And those of you who know Kiarostami's cinema, you will be perhaps surprised by how astonishingly and directly political Jafar Panahi's cinema is, based on Kiarostami's script. This is the penultimate film of Jafar Panahi. It's from 2003. It was premiered in Cannes in the section called Certain Regards, and won the jury prize for it. After this film in 2006, he made his last feature film, Offside. And in all of these films, beginning with White Balloon and ending with Offside, but including this and the film that he made before this called Circle, you see Jafar Panahi in his absolute best. A cinema of mature filmmaker that is deeply rooted in the social issues and social problems of his land, of his country. And it is precisely that measured balance between cinema as art and the responsibility of an artist as a citizen that you will see having come together.
Can you comment on economic disparity in Tehran or in Iran in general? I mean, in the film, it's kind of suggested that violence is ready to erupt anytime because of this kind of social issues.
Law, your question is absolutely apropos what this movie is about, namely the hidden and structural violence, which is violence that has to do with the economic disparity. A key scene is when he's delivering pizza to one of his former comrades in the war front, and now he has made it and has become very rich, and he doesn't even want to recognize who he is, and so forth. The economic boom is in the aftermath of the Iran-Iraq War. Iran-Iraq War, you recall, was 1980, 1988. A year after that, Khomeini dies, 1989, and then we have 8 years of post-war reconstruction under the presidency of Akbar Hashemi Rafsanjani, and a new class of nouveau riche is generated by virtue of massive oil money that comes in, and a new class are the beneficiaries of the relatively new liberal economics that he initiates. But contrary to late President Reagan's assumption of trickling down, nothing was trickling down. And that economic disparity continues into the next 8 years of presidency of Khatami. And now, of course, you have certain social reforms that Khatami addresses and pertains to those who were the economic beneficiaries of the former previous 8 years under Hashemi Rafsanjani. And as a result, when it came to the presidential election of 2002-2003, when the first term of the election of Ahmadinejad, there was a rough estimate of 15 million eligible voters who were neither the beneficiaries of the economic reform of Hashemi Rafsanjani, nor were they particular about the social reforms of Khatami, and as a result, the vote to the degree that you can trust voting in Islamic Republic went to Ahmadinejad. So yes, economic disparity remains fundamental to the film, and also the hidden violence that is. There are a number of this last scene of this gaudy apartment that is entirely empty, and the wonderful way that Panahi / Kiarostami work, the discrepancy between what you hear and what you see, that's where the dissonance, visual and aural dissonance are generated. Another very violent scene is when for the first time Hossein and his fiancée go into that jewelry shop, and there is this astonishing body language of violence so far as they're being told that they are not welcome there, this is not their place, they should go downtown and shop in a different place. So there are a number of ways that this hidden violence is evident. But in a way, because Panahi is always a master of showing signs of violence, but not the source of violence. The classical example, as I said, is in White Balloon, that you see the signs of violence on the young boy's face, but you never know. You sort of surmise that probably this is by the father. And in this the entirety of this film is a post-war, post-revolution cinema. So the source of violence, namely the revolution and the war, are actually hidden, but you see the manifestation of violence in society, in body language, in the way people behave towards each other. Perhaps in a comparative context, you may consider, for example, absolute masterpiece of American cinema that you may have seen, Dead President, the Hughes brothers, 1995 film, Dead President, that you have a number of Vietnam War veterans coming back to Bronx and engaging in robbery and so forth. But in Dead President, you actually see scenes of violence in Vietnam. And then you see the continuation here in the United States. Whereas in Crimson Gold, you don't see the war. You see the blank face of Hossein, this poker face of Hossein, is, I think, is one of the masterpiece creations of Kiarostami and Panahi. Also, he's cast perfectly. He has this blank poker face that you can't, and he doesn't talk too much. And as a result, he's a perfect character for him to come into the scene and become the terra incognita upon which then the violences are mapped out. And there's a hidden violence in him that I think is reflected throughout the film. And as a result, if you look at the structure of the film, it is a flashback. It begins with the violent scene. It ends with the violent scene that is more or less visible. But even the last scene, you don't actually see. You hear violence. You don't see it. Then in between, you have hidden violence, economic disparities and class warfare and so forth. And his blank face is a perfect site, S-I-T-E, for the reflection of that violence. But if structurally you look at two manifested violence and a stretch of hidden violence, then at the center remains that, in my judgment, absolute masterpiece of the sequence of he, which I hope you didn't lose, standing in front of a party when young kids are dancing up in an apartment, and one by one they come down, and then they're arrested. You remember that scene? And he's standing with his pizzas. Pizzas are getting cold, and there is a scene that the horrid fragmentation of Iranian society. You have parents worrying about their kids. You have the morality police trying to arrest them. You have kids coming back from the party and then ending up in a van about to be arrested. Young soldier who is sort of coming of age and is interested, curious, and so forth about what's happening up there. And then Hossein, realizes that the pizza is getting cold, gets permission from the chief guy, and begins one of the greatest sequences in Iranian cinema, going around this gathered community of fragmented society in a gesture of simply giving them pizzas. But in my judgment, this is a simulacrum of Eucharist, of uniting them together, is a cascade of love just by offering a pizza, cascade of love in an otherwise deeply violent, deeply disturbing film.